A unit with over 100 AOE resistance will take only 1 damage from any AOE attacks. KT7 up here. Today, I will quickly go over Lightning Astrius's debuff calculation. He has a couple of debuffs that are calculated differently from the traditional imperils. Let's go over the traditional way of how debuff works. We will use Summer Helena's LB as an example. Her LB first dispels Shell and lower target's AOE resistance by 30, then deals large damage. So her AOE resistance debuff is very straightforward. Hyo here has 77 AOE resistance, and Helena's LB lowered it by 30. So for the next 3 turns, his AOE resistance will be at 47. 77 minus 30. The traditional way of debuff will put your target's resistances to a negative value. Here we have Soul. His AOE resistance is at 20 to start. After Helena's LB, it went down to minus 10. 20 minus 30 equals negative 10. When any resistance is at a negative value, the unit will take extra damage from that type of attack. That's the traditional way of how debuff works in the game. Next, let's look at Lightning Astrius and what he brings to the table. We will focus on these 2 abilities. The one on the left is an AOE attack up to 4 panels away. The effects are defense penetration up 40 and lowers target's AOE resistance by a certain percentage for 3 turns, then deals medium damage. The ability on the right is a single target attack up to 2 panels away. First lowers the target's slash resistance by a certain percentage for 3 turns, then deals 2 hits small damage. Let's run some tests and figure out the percent of reductions, and how it works when combined with another debuffs. Our test subject is Hyo again. He starts off at 77 AOE resistance. After Astrius uses his AOE debuff ability on him, his AOE resistance gone down to 31. It is a 60% reduction. We typically only see percentage debuff against elemental resistance, but now we are getting it for AOE res and slash res. This is very useful against units with super high AOE resistance like Rain. A simple minus 30 is much less compared to 60%. However, it will never put a unit's resistance to negative. And debuff reduction rate and debuff resistance will work against Astrius's abilities. His slash resistance debuff works the same way. It is also a 60% reduction. The total percentage down is calculated with any buff a unit already received. This slide here shows Hyo's AOE resistance is at 107, that's with an active buff. After Astrius attack, his AOE resistance gone down to 43. A 60% decrease. So can you combine Astrius and Helena's effects? Let's take a look. I had Astrius attack first. AOE resistance starts off at 77. After Astrius attack, it became 31. Then Helena's LB, that's 31 minus 30, right? Nope, Helena's minus 30 debuff applies to the original resistance value of 77. So 77 minus 30, that's 47. Then 60% of 47, that's how we get to 19. Now let's try using Helena's LB first. 77 minus 30, that's 47. Then Astrius LB, 60% of 47 equals 19. So the conclusion is, the traditional way of the minus X amount debuff will always apply to the original resistance value. And Astrius's debuff applies to the current value. This new percentage debuff will play a big role moving forward. There are many units that can reach a ridiculous amount of resistances. It will be much easier to take them down with this type of debuffs. That's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.